Alright, first things first, some disclaimers. We're using some mods. We've got 3 quality of life mods here to make the game easier to play and sometimes a little faster. And then we've got the first bit of what I'm willing to admit is kind of cheating. We've got the Brainstorm mod. The Brainstorm mod lets you filter for a seed that has very specific and very rare starting conditions, such as the first small blind having a charm tag if you skip, that charm tag having 1 soul, and that soul containing per KO. And then after you do that, the first shop having Overstock as the voucher, and a Mega Spectral pack to the right of the Force Buffoon pack. This allows for a very powerful start to go with the very ambitious goals that I will get to in a moment. In addition to the mods, I am doing something a little bit less than traditional and playing on a file that does not have everything unlocked. There is a whole bunch of jokers over here, and a whole bunch of vouchers also in here that I have chosen to either not unlock or delay unlocking to find some of the important pieces earlier and easier. And in addition to playing on an incomplete file, when I will inevitably have to reset the run due to not having a good start, I will be resetting my save file to this position by messing with the game files a little bit. Alright, that should do it for disclaimers. Let's get into the premise. And go over here so I can point at things. The goal is to break a Cavendish. Not by any expected means of just playing a bunch of Balatro and waiting for it to go on its own. I want to make it break. And to do that, we're going to need 10 copies of Oops All 6, or the D6 as I call it. To do that, we're going to need some help from Perkeo. Perkeo makes negative copies of consumables, like some spectral cards. To get the spectral cards, we will be using Sixth Sense if it's there and it's very kind to us, or more than likely Seance, because Seance can be copied and it gets you the spectral cards at a much better rate than 1 per round. And once we're off the ground with that, we will be rotating through all the spectral cards until Perkeo has given us at least 1 negative copy of Ankh to copy the dice, Ectoplasm to make room for more dice, and Cryptid to help us stay alive. More on the Cryptid part later. Ankh comes with some problems of destroying all of your jokers, which is why at the very end of the run we are going to need to reroll to find an Eternal D6, and as such we will be playing on Black Stake. Ectoplasm comes with some problems of progressively taking more and more hand size away from you, which is very difficult to recover from, but I do have a plan that I will get to shortly. And yeah, I thought there was something else, but there isn't. On to the next thing. How are we going to survive while Perkeo's doing work? Well, we're going to do Old Faithful. We need a Baron, we need a Mime, and we need a lot of Kings. With those 2 jokers, a deck full of Red Seal Steel Kings. Steel for 1.5 held in hand, and Red Seal to do it again, and then the Baron and the Mime to do those even more. Plus the Cryptids to go over the hand size limit temporarily. We should be able to go resource positive very comfortably up until ante 23. And then we might start bleeding out a little bit, but we could get a little bit of help from the Serpent to sort of stabilize and stay at about the same amount of resources. But ante 23 is when things start getting spooky if we don't have everything we need yet. But yeah, to recap, we're going to need about 9 onks, 9 ectoplasms, and ideally a total of about 70 cryptids throughout the run. We're going to want to end on about 40 left. So what is that? That's 88 spectral cards. That means we're going to need more than just 1 per KO. We're going to need, hopefully by the end game, 5 per KOs. I want to get a total of 4 copy jokers, both to help stay alive. That's how we're going to make it to Ante 23 with Baron and Mime. And then also to make per KO copy 5 things around instead of 1. That makes that number 88 much easier to reach. Now you might be thinking to yourself, wait a minute, this doesn't work. If you use 9 ectoplasms, that's negative 45 hand size. You're right. That's why the backup plan, or rather, the plan, is to get a bunch of colas throughout the run and stockpile double tags to use on juggle tags at the moment of truth. You need 14 colas plus the original juggle tag to purely cancel out the hand size loss from the ectoplasms. And then ideally you get a few more to help you save on cryptids. Now, even if all of that goes according to plan, and you have the 9 onks for the dice, the 9 ectoplasms throughout the run to make room for everything, and you find the Eternal D6 and the Cavendish, and there's a juggle tag that you can skip for, that's still not enough. After you make all the dice, you will have to reroll for 1 copy joker, another Baron, and another Mime to survive the upcoming blind so that you can make it to the end so that the Cavendish has a chance to break. That's a very tall order, and it's going to require a lot of money. Hopefully that money will come from Golden Ticket plus Suck and Buskin. That's kind of the plan for that. And then at the end of the round, you'll play a high card and get out with Baron Mime. Alright. That should be all of the information you need to know what the plan for this run is. You may feel free to get back to the stream now.